My name is Derest Craig. I am a resident of Dallas, Texas. I'm 25 years old, and I attend one of the greatest churches in, I feel like, the world. And it's not just biased for me to say that, Faith Kingdom Church of God in Christ, where my father is the pastor, Superintendent Charles Craig, and my mother is the First Lady, Lady Janice Craig. I grew up in a musical household. I didn't quite realize until I was about 13 years old that I wanted to seriously start trying to become a musician, like playing for church services and all that type of thing. But I would mess around on my dad's organ, or the church's organ rather, when we would be up at the church, stuck because he was doing work up there. And my mother likes to tell the story that at the age of 3, I kind of pushed her hands off of the piano while she was practicing and started playing the melody to Let Everything That Have Breath Praise the Lord at 3 years of age. But I didn't know until later that I had perfect pitch. That's not a boast for me to say that. But anyway, I think most people know me from playing in the national meetings for the Church of God in Christ, the national conventions, and God has really blessed me to favor me there in those arenas. But I serve faithfully with my mother in the jurisdiction that we grew up in under the late Bishop J. Newell Haynes in Texas Northeast First. So those are some things that really shaped me into the musician that I am today. What can I say about the importance of playing in all keys? I'm just going to use a story for this one. I have a memory of earlier years that I was visiting AIM, and I was not playing as frequently as I am now. But I was offered a chance to come play with the, I believe it was the class setting. And they were asking people to volunteer to come up and play. And I felt confident. I felt like, oh, this is my chance to kind of prove that I can play in these types of settings and things like that. And I went up there and I was doing okay, some hymn that he started singing in E flat. And I knew he was going to change keys because that was the whole thing that they were trying to demonstrate. And he went to E, and something in my brain just shut down. And it wasn't that I didn't feel like I couldn't play in E. I think it was just the nervousness combined with the fact that I'm automatically more comfortable in black keys, like some musicians are, versus white keys. Sometimes we have more songs in those keys, but I would say for those of you who have issues with trying to learn songs in different keys, there's nothing to it but to do it. I guess the biggest thing for me, I would try to take songs that I already knew how to play and play them in different keys. Sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's a little harder if you're trying to learn the exact things that you do, but you keep doing that and you keep learning songs that are in certain keys. Like Moving Forward for me was a good song to help me in A. I feel like those are some strategies that you can use to combat that. upsides versus downsides of being a female musician. Number one, it will automatically kind of draw more attention to you. It's a bit of an anomaly in the black church. And so when you get on, people are already going to do a double take once you get on versus, other males switching out. They're used to seeing that. So it can be beneficial and get you certain opportunities. I've found that a lot of people, when they're doing the women's conferences and services, they kind of like the idea of having a female musician. So it can open doors for you, can get you noticed more quickly. I would say the downsides can be sometimes people are faster to write you off because it is such an anomaly to see female musicians, and honestly a lot of it can be intimidation because of the fact that you tend to attract more attention, and most of them can kind of see it as a guy's it's a man's world, or things along those lines. They're more quick to kind of give their homeboys a chance or do whatever, but ultimately it's not that much different than the challenges that you may face as a regular musician. It does take some push past, but ultimately you'll find that a lot of people are willing to support you. They may not be musicians themselves, but just on virtue of rooting for the underdog. So I feel like it has its benefits, and it's benefited me greatly. So my encouragement to musicians, especially female musicians, don't give up. There have been many times where I felt like I was being overlooked. I felt like people were not giving me the opportunities that I felt I deserved. People were not I wasn't where I wanted to be as a musician. Several times where family members had to tell me, don't quit, don't do da 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 da. I'm a very perfectionistic person, and I can get easily discouraged at times with things that are going on. I've been through a lot of personal challenges. My dad's health, in 2015 he suffered a major stroke which required him to have 24-hour care. And seeing that play out, at the time I was going through the motions at my church, just didn't really care about anything that was going on musically because of everything that I was seeing, and that really dealt with me. I would have to say something that happened recently that really kind of encouraged me. I watched a video that said to do something in the next 24 hours that could move you and your business forward. And because I love arranging, I'm trying to get my production business off the ground. I was like, okay, the closest thing I can think of is to do the Jesus I Love You challenge, because it'll be a way to show off my arranging skills, whatever. So I posted the video, had no clue that in less than 30 minutes Jonathan Nelson would be commenting on and saying how amazing it was, and his producer as well. And it was just something that was really encouraging to me. Last time I did a challenge, I felt like I fell flat on my face. So sometimes you might think that something's not working for you, but if you try it again, you never know what will happen. So my encouragement to musicians, especially female musicians, don't give up. God is able to do just what he said he would do. I have several influences. I'll try to be as brief as possible, but my mother, in addition to me growing up in that choir atmosphere when she did our church choir and our state choir for the late Bishop J. Noel Haynes, I just loved, even before I started playing, I loved being in that atmosphere. She is also an amazing musician, and a lot of the approach that I have, the musicality and mindset, I developed from listening to her, the way she approaches songs and telling a story while she plays. I also was heavily influenced by my brother, Ian Craig. He's known as an amazing musician in the DFW area, and also an amazing songwriter and producer. And he was very tough on me growing up, but it definitely shaped me into the musician that I am today. Also, I guess moving to the national level, there is a musician. He's in California. He lived in Dallas for a time, but his name is Devin Watkins, and he's one of the most amazing musicians I have ever heard, and I'm really honored to know him. Shared a lot of information with me while I was in Dallas, and he is very much a role model for the type of sound that I aspire to have as a musician. Also, Kevin Powell, when I got to the national level playing for the Kojic conventions, really pushed me, really encouraged me, and I loved listening to him play. It's two more. My friend Sean Copeland is an amazing musician, plays in Kojic conventions also, and my brother Alvin Coleman is a total beast. Look him up. So the funny thing about when God leads you and guides you in a certain direction, the way He wants you to go, you might not get the whole picture right away. And I felt like in 2018 I was getting kind of bits and pieces of where God wanted to take me, and I was trying to piece it together and make it happen right away, and it didn't happen like that. But the thing that came from 2018, there was a teaching analogy that my mother used to use when she would talk about dreams that God would give you. She would say that those dreams that were from God would be colorful because of the fact that they were from God. You would be able to see the different colors that were in the dream. She has a gift for interpreting dreams. So I felt like I wanted to use that. I felt inspired by God to use that as the name for my music ventures. But I didn't even know at the time what I wanted to do or what I wanted to be in 2018. It wasn't until close to the end of 2018 that I began to feel as though the songwriting gift, especially after Todd Hall's prophecy, was awakened in me. And things that came from that, I was able to produce a song for my friend Marquetta Timmons out of Tyler, Texas. It's out now. It's called Great and Mighty. It was my first ever project I produced and arranged. And another project that's getting ready to drop, my church choir, I'm super excited about. It's titled He Won't Fail. And that should be coming out on May 26th. thank you to Minister Devin Mickey for reaching out to me to be featured on this platform. I'm hugely honored that he would even consider me. I'm trying to see what other people see for me as a musician, but thank you so much. I love your spirit. The Cash App giveaways are something that's really interesting to me, but I think that's representative of who you are as a person. And also, When Tidal Water Talks, I think is an amazing platform for musicians, more specifically gospel musicians, to be featured. I feel like there are not enough positive platforms like this out there. And huge kudos to you all for the work that you do. So thank you very much, and I really enjoy being featured.